go. Dota 2.
All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Learn Dota 2 League Season 12 Playoffs, Week 1. Today, we have no Ocelot, unfortunately. But that's okay, because we got a very special guest today, who you might not be able to recognize by voice. Who are you, special guest commentator?
I am the great Tallballz.
And what do we know you from?
I would be the wonderful captain of the team Tupac.
All right, we got Tallballz off of Tupac. They were actually playing Team Spirit today. Actually got them here. Getting some lightning round picks and bans here. Knocking out the ban, knocking out the Kunkka here in Phase 1 for Lich, notably leaving the Tennelsing Clockwork in the pool. GG's thinking about X3 heroes, knocking out the Viper and the Spirit Breaker.
Lich with a tribute to that game you stood in.
Yeah. That's great. I'm not a fan of the first Big Witch Doctor, to be honest with you. I always think it's a little too easily countered, even just by the support line alone.
Clark.
And this is not a bad guy with which to do it, especially considering you kind of already knew he was coming. Perhaps that's the idea. Perhaps the idea is that they're going to bait out a Clockwork Hook in, and then they're just going to drop Maledict and ult on him or something. Seems a lot for a 4, but I mean, it is a 5, presumably, I assume.
It's a pretty big playmaking 4, at least.
Right. It could be a 5. This could be our meat hero as well.
Radiant team pick.
Ooh.
Okay.
Wow, they're getting a very early DP.
That's an early DP. We've seen Kid Dynamite play DP, so, maybe taking a page from the Lich book.
It is an interesting thing, too, because I tell you what's one thing that's kind of becoming popular recently. It was all over that the old Chinese tournament scene recently is 3DP. Wonder if we might see that all here. Speaking of 3s...
Both of them pretty big in the offlane right now.
Speaking of 3s, Night Stalker. The GGs have a very 5-focus lineup. Tallballz, let's see your experiences against Blizzard. How did you feel facing that guy in the trenches last week?
I think overall their team's really good. I had a really good conversation with Wizard before our game. He's a funny guy, so I think it's his overall skill. I'm curious to see how they use the Death Prophet though.
So you're saying Wizard's skill is determined by his humor. All right. So if you're at home, kids, if you're a coming up Dota player, write that one down. Your sense of humor determines your skill level. The Death Prophet pick is very interesting, though. Depending on where they have it, could do a lot. Her plus that Clockwork can be a really mean combination. There is nowhere in the entire world you can possibly be worse than Incog staring at Death Prophet.
And Lich actually bans Void Spirit after the Death Prophet, so they're assuming it's going offlane.
Yeah. London, for his strengths as a mid, has a pretty thin pool. So it is not a terrible assumption to say it's probably not him today. Shoutouts to Bajiji, our fine members of the stream chat.
Yeah, shoutouts.
Our fine local stream moderator, actually.
That's true.
Dire team ban.
Who's also the one who made our lovely interlude panels that you'll be seeing for our BRB and our interview segment. We're finally using this stupid card I got made like 3 weeks ago.
So there's the Dogtown Treant Protector. We've seen that a couple times.
Yeah, Dogtown on Treant is really good. He is a very, very, very strong tree. Haven't you faced both of these teams, actually? I know you faced GG's last week. I believe you've also faced Lich at some point in the rankings.
I want to say I have. I know it's been a weird season.
Yeah.
With
like a couple weeks long break there.
Yeah, it was definitely with the holidays and whatnot.
10 seconds.
I'm gonna have to, maybe not. I know we played MF Doom. I don't think it was.
If I recall, on our on one of our unfortunately only pre-show panels so far, Kid Dynamite was complaining that we placed your team above his even though he beat you, or something like that, I think. So, Wraith King.
They did. They 2-0'd us.
Sad. Yep.
Okay, so Wraith
So that's a very, very long team fight they got going on there. The Death Prophet and the Wraith King combo are just two heroes that want to be fighting for eternity.
If Lich gets someone who can just nuke you down instantly, it's like Alina would actually be pretty good in this game, I think.
Right.
It matches up well against the DP in mid, and Wraith King doesn't like it.
We're still assuming DP mid, of course.
Yeah. Which is not a fair assumption, I guess, but I think Lena's really good in this game, especially with the cogs.
Oh, Vex is here. Shoutouts to Vex. He's saying Lich won already. They drafted the Night Stalker.
Yeah, Vex gets to see his specialty.
Yeah, that's true. I would say Night Stalker being probably the signature hero of Vex in the tournament through his valiant play. Surprised you're not doing anything this week, Vex. Very shocked that I don't know, Backdoor didn't just tell their three to take a day off or something.
Wow, dude, shade.
10 seconds
It's okay. Dusty isn't real anyway. He's just combination being's imaginary friend. Earth Spirit for Lich. Earth Spirit could be interesting. Earth Spirit's got a good set of solutions for this sort of long-term team fight that the GGs like to have here with this setup.
Sure.
If he's smart about how he uses his ult, and this is probably a Dogtown Earth Spirit, and you know Dogtown Earth Spirit is going to be smart with it, then you could definitely have like a very, very long-term magnetize going down. There's only one little issue so far, in that they are very, especially if that is a 3 DP, they're very sort of early game focused at the moment. Let's see if this changes things.
Yeah, Ember. I like that too. I don't like it as much as Zelina, but I guess Zelina is a little riskier.
Ember Spirit is here. What do you think, Balls? What do you think of this Lich draft so far?
I like the fact that they're kind of focusing to, like you were saying, match the depth of the team fight. I think their ability to kind of stop the Clockwork's cogs from focusing one person and kind of canceling that out with maybe a Maledict or the Cask or even Earth Spirit. I think it could be good. I think they're doing the right thing to focus that Clockwork, because like you said, it seems to be something GG's is very comfortable with.
Right.
They have 3 people who can get through, around, or into cogs. They have Ember, Earth Spirit, and Night Stalker, and all of them can just not care about cogs.
And Witch Doctor is in a sort of win-win, because if Clockwork hits him, well, you just hooked and geared the 5 exclusively, so you just wasted that opportunity. And if he hits somebody else, he can Cask in, he can Maledict in, he could ult in if he really wants to give Clockwork a headache. Magnus.
Oh, okay.
That's interesting. I do kind of have to wonder exactly how good Magnus is going to be doing against a lineup that looks like this. I feel like most people on Lich can deal with Magnus actually fairly well. They don't have much to do about the blink, but if Night Stalker can get up to him, if he can get in his face, and he can really just completely inert the guy.
Right. Maybe it's the Empower for the Wraith King, or whatever's coming next.
Yeah, probably. Probably. It's probably going to be mostly Empower and Blink Horn Toss.
Pick some auto attack mid.
Going to be seeing a very collapsed style Magnus here, I think. Oh, Vex is still out. Okay, well that would be why he's not playing today. Yeah, 4 more days. I'll help. Can't wait to cast you next week, buddy.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun one.
All I'm gonna say is there's gonna be a lot of suspicious sick days coming up. Yep, we got an Ursa ban by the GGs.
Let's just turn their attention to the 3, so they think Death Prophet's mid.
Interesting stuff. Mars is no, I think I would have let them have the Mars, to be honest with you. Mars and Magnus would be very redundant towards each other, not really help each other out to any degree. It's kind of Ocelot would say, the 2 for the price of 1 pick. 2 guys who do the exact same job and not very efficiently. The Sand King, on the other hand, can do very well, so that is a good ban.
Yeah, like most of the times we kind of talk about redundant picks, I think there is a way Magnus and Mars can work, but it's very specific. You have to Arena and then RP. That's pretty much everyone dies. if you do any other combination, it doesn't really work.
10
Right.
seconds remaining.
But we're not going to see that in general. Oh yeah, super redundant with Clockwork there as well, I feel like. Not a great ban. It's a little odd because I feel like Kid Dynamite's biggest strength on Captain is usually his bans. He's got a pretty good ban game. Like one thing in particular here, banning out the Weaver was definitely very good. Imagine this combination of heroes with the Weaver Ags.
Yep.
And they could have definitely slotted him for a core role as well, just to get it up even faster, to make it even more miserable.
So, GG's. Either they're running Magnus 4 or they need a 4 or 5.
You can
the
fairly
last pick.
safely assume Clock 4.
Yeah, so what's their last pick? A 5?
Wizards good enough, I think they could actually get away with it.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Tallballz, if you I am the Juggernaut. I am going to be
Okay.
focusing a little bit on the early game, and that's okay, because that's really kind of what Lich's, strategy this game should probably be. If you got this lineup on the GGs here, Tallballz, you're picking last. Who are you picking? What would you say if you were looking at this? You needed a 5th?
It's something to where I would want to get, obviously, in my mind, something ranged to kind of balance it out. So a ranged hero.
Range is a good start.
Something with, like, a multiple stun. I need a multiple hero stun. I need something that can, once the Juggernaut maybe finishes his ult, or even, in the middle of a Witch Doctor ult before he gets BKB, something that can kind of, for sure, lock that down and then maybe, hit another hero or something like that.
Since we're looking at 5s, you're thinking something like a very traditionalist 5, like a Lion, potentially a Shaman, something like that?
Something like that. I think Lion, it would be maybe late game if it does go late, kind of a crappy game, but I think that it definitely checks a few boxes for me.
I do feel like if it goes long, I will say.
Or
Razor!
Okay.
Who's the 5 then? What's happening here?
It's gonna be interesting.
Death Prophet 5 maybe? I have no idea what the hell's going on.
Wraith King's gonna be their 1. That's Esper, by the way, of LDR, coming back from the grave. It is DP5.
Mid, alright.
Very interesting.
Yeah, haven't seen that one before.
I'm excited to kind of see it. I want to see how they utilize it. They obviously have an idea for it, picking it second.
Right.
I think that was kind of part of their mind game was, it could be, a 1 or not a 1, a 2, or, in this instance,
a flex
5.
pick.
Exactly.
Yeah, it could have been a very literal flex pick in the line of, they had no idea where DP was going when it was drafted, and then just made up their minds as they saw the Lich lineup come along. I will say on paper, I think I like the Lich lineup a little more. I think they have an early game team that's going to be able to do the job. I feel like Racer's going to be kind of hard-pressed to catch some of these guys on this lineup. He's picked for Jug more than likely, but Jug can break Tether pretty quickly if he reacts to it the right way. Earth Spirit...
Especially if he has like a Swift Slash.
Right. Earth Spirit, Ember Spirit, not really going to be caring about it at all. Earth Spirit in particular, a very nasty matchup against Razor. He's not going to be facing Razor, though. He's going to be facing the Magnus, and Magnus might not really like to see him either. All right, let's go down. Before we do that, before we do the player calls, let's ask them both. Oh, and now we wait. Yeah, perfect. So, Randy, let's hear your take first. The Razor versus, not Razor, the Ember Spirit versus Magnus matchup mid. What do you think?
I think Ember wins early, but it kind of equals out as levels are gained, I suppose.
Right.
Although, Magnus isn't going to be able to kill Ember Spirit. It's just not going to happen. Even at 6, I don't think he can.
Gonna need a gank if he wants to do it. And I don't know if anybody on this lineup is really... I don't know if anyone on this lineup is really going to be that great at getting that done. Like, Clockwork could kind of do it.
Witch Doctor rotation more than I would see, like a Death Prophet Clock.
Oh, for sure, yeah. Earth Spirit is definitely going to have a better shot at getting something done mid here. How about you, Tallballz? You were mid yourself. You played mid against London here. What do you think of the Kid... and you played mid against Kid Dynamite. What do you think of this KD Ember versus London Magnus matchup as an insider?
I'm kind of riding on the back of Randy here. I think it's going to be tough for them to lock down the Ember early. I think he's just going to kind of do his farming thing, but at the same time, I do have faith in the Magnus. I do like London as a player. I think he has the ability to kind of make it even, but later in the game, I think the Ember is just going to kind of start doing Ember things.
Oh yeah, definitely. As the game goes on, Magnus is going to be. I feel like Magnus is going to be in a tough spot here. He's going to be, he's going to be struggling a little bit in lane. He's going to be struggling a little bit in the late game. I feel like the only time he's going to be doing that well probably is going to be in the mid, in that 20 to 30 minute range.
Yeah,
Which is never a nice place to be.
Really likes in this game is Drug. He likes Drug, but
and even Jug, you know, it still sucks if Jug's conscious of you and is playing around that. You know, nothing in the world is worse than trying, you know, you drop the RP on Jug and he's just spinning. Nothing in the world is worse than you blink and horn charge and you just... Nothing in the world worse than a blink and horn toss attempt and then he just omnis you, you know? Nothing in the world worse. Kid Dynamite, by the way, sponsored by Brondo. It's what plants crave.
I have faith in this GG's lineup. They had the same exact lineup against Baby Schlark for one of their, not exact same, they had 3 out of the 5 with Death Prophet, Clockwork, and the Wraith King. And they were successful with the Death Prophet.
I'll tell you this much. I don't know if you keep track of the GG's much. I think legitimately they have a 100% PB on Clockwork with the GG's. It's either pick or ban in every game. So you can't necessarily... On one hand, he's definitely a reliable lane state. On the other hand, I don't know if you can ever necessarily credit him exclusively with like a success. Like, they tried this and it worked out. Not really the thing for them. It's definitely a guy to watch, though I do feel like they do have some good answers to him. I like this Lich lineup. I think they have a good shot here, but it's going to take a lot of good execution. And I think they're definitely going to have a good, unified, solid game plan, and they're most notably are going to have to be very conscious of the status of their heroes. This is an early game lineup. 50 minutes, Wraith King's going to 1v5 these guys.
Good execution is super good, or super important as well, because Magnus and Clock really as well, they prey on bad execution.
Magnus, like, Clock, and even Razor to a large degree.
You saw during TI, like, collapse on Mag would literally just, the second the other team made a mistake, you would just kill them.
Right. And London in particular...
mistake punishing hero the Magnus.
London in particular, that's definitely in his sort of wheelhouse as a player. If we're talking about individuals here. London, very aggressive. He likes taking a chunk out of you, he likes taking it early, and he likes, you know, brawling, he likes fighting. And he watches you.
Kind of an interesting spot here. He's gonna kind of pincer these guys in. At least attempt to.
He's gonna get spun on though.
Yeah, I'm not sure this is what he expected to find. That's fine though.
Ultimately, they kind of walk away, taking 2 for 2. DP actually also going in on X3 up here top, but no such luck for her. She only got a little bit of Night Stalker's HP. So now, with all being done, let's do the classic traditional roll call. Tallballz, you're a special guest. Why don't you do it for this time? You know how this goes, I assume.
What, hitting who's playing what?
Yeah. And in what role? For which teams?
I'll start it off here at the. We'll hit the top lane for Dire. We have Wizard playing the position 5 Death Prophet. Seems to be a little crazy. We have the position 1 Esper on Wraith King. At mid, we have the individual we were speaking of just before, London on the Magnus. And at bottom, we have that Clockwork and the good old Razor.
Tennyson on Clockwork.
Speaking of Razor, he almost got killed down here, but
yeah, this
surviving.
This Jug and Witch Doctor lane is going to be very deadly, even through the Razor damage shield, just because of how much damage that the Juggernaut spin is going to be able to do to them. So speaking of Juggernaut, as far as Lich goes, we got the Bush, pause 1 on the Juggernaut, pause 2, Kid Dynamite on the Ember Spirit, pause 3, you've got
really pressuring this lane.
X3 really just going way downtown here, is still trying to harass them behind their own tower here. Pause 4, Dogtown T, missed first blood, I'm getting kicked out the desk. Yep, Clockwork just walked out of the.
that might be a
Clockwork gonna
double
die
kill
too.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
we saw that at least. Very good opening segment here for Lich.
That's your,
Bush getting a double.
Juggling deadly hero.
Way deadlier in lane than I think a lot of people realize. Way deadlier in lane than I think his own captain gives him credit for being. Anyway, 4, Dogtown on the Ember Spirit, or Earth Spirit, sorry, and 5, Run Over Meat on the Witch Doctor, trying to have a bit of a comeback. This is Run Over Meat getting back in his groove, or Run Over Feet, I guess, as it were. Getting back in his groove here. He had a rough performance in the Panic series, so this is definitely going to be a back in the saddle or back off the saddle moment for him.
He already got 2 assists in 2 minutes, so...
Yeah, that's a very good start. He's definitely laning this well.
Couple violent lanes up here. Wizard's
Yeah.
been kind of going around through the triangle every time the creep wave is over there.
Oh, Jug is blocking Meat!
Oh no.
Jug blocked Meat! He got him
Oh,
killed!
my.
That's not great. That's execution. That's an execution flaw. Ouch. He might die? Nope, he's fine. He's fine at least. Yeah, that's not super ideal.
U7 phase? I don't know.
Yeah, probably. He just expects to have his phases slow now. He actually had it mostly complete too. But yeah, that's not great. Wait, we do have some violent lanes. Earth Spirit, really in particular, putting the thumb down on Esprit here at top.
Yeah, he certainly
Actually,
is.
as well. One thing that you know you're probably not going to hear much talk about. I believe X3 and Esper know each other prior to this tournament. I know X3 in particular was very excited to face Esper, but LDR that week they actually did not get to meet up because Esper was out. It's going to be a very interesting, sort of a personal lane up here.
Another
not.
clock go here.
That looks like Clock might be.
He's dead.
Yep. Goodbye, Clockwork. Just getting run over by the this bot lane again. To be frank with you, I think the safe lane is actually the weakest lane that Lich has. No slag on them. I don't think they're awful players. I just think the X3 Dogtown combo, I do think they just get a cut above what Bush and Meat usually have. But this game, these two guys are showing us a really good performance, and that's a good sign. It's a good sign that they're definitely taking this seriously for one. I mean, they better be.
Oh, clock again.
And again, he got the Maledict on him.
They just run at him every time.
It is a level 2 Maledict too, so I mean it's gonna... Don't know if it'll be enough, obviously.
Oh, the Centaur!
Yeah.
The Centaur almost doomed him there. 2, 1. Coconut, do your job! Nope!
I bounced the
Sad.
Centaur, that's it. It's fine though.
Yep. Did just waste a load of time from the off lane chasing the 5 there.
Yep.
One thing I will say is that Jug has sacrificed in large part his last hits to do this. He is last one the cores.
You can pretty much say a kill is like 4 to 5 CS, so add that to his total.
And that is true. And he does have 3 of them under his belt so far, so he would be tied for first theoretically. Though I do think he missed the XP on at least one of those. Got a Centaur for his trouble at least. Wonder if the Centaur had stomped, if that would have been enough damage to kill.
Maybe.
By the way, at one point, Bajiji said hi to Randy, so say hi to Bajiji, Randy. Very violent lane phase so far.
Yeah, it
I
certainly
think
is.
might have taken a little bit of the wind out of the sails of the GG's bot down here. This is not the lanes they usually have standing up here.
Esper... just gonna roll away.
Yep. Interesting skin, just looking for a rune there, I think. Get to listen to Jug yell. Uh-oh, Razor!
Oh man.
Very fire, but wasn't matter, goodbye! Even with that level 3 static link used in full, he still couldn't really get him here. That's definitely, it's very interesting there. You know, Razor, pretty good counter to Jug in the mid-game, but in lane phase, just seems like he just does not have much to stand up to that spin. Alright.
Yeah, just gonna put the cogs in. Yeah. Just to stop them from going on him, pretty much. I think Drug would have thought about going on him if he didn't do that.
Mid lane here. This is a little more equivalent than it perhaps looked at first sight. Ember Spirit is actually up, but no surprise there. But he's not up by much. He's certainly up by a lesser margin than he would have expected, I think. He did just pick up a DD, though, and that could definitely turn things around in very short order.
This is London. Guy's quite good.
He's good. London's weakness is his pool, but when it comes to actual execution,
no,
goodbye Heatwave.
Clockwork again. I mean, this is on one game. Clockwork died 17 times, only killing one hero. So, I mean, it seems to be that kind of fashion that he likes to roll with.
Oh, Kid Dynamite actually rolled top of that DD too, knocked out the Wraith King. Now that's a good minute for the for Lich there. It's a very good minute for them. Knocking out, getting another kill on their own pause one and knocking out the other one.
Definitely putting the thumb down here early.
Very good. Juggernaut actually going of all things, he's going right for the Maelstrom there.
Yep.
Rushing the hell out of it. Already has a javelin. For a second I thought he might be going for MKB. That'd be a little crazy. Wraith King, on the other hand, you can tell just looking at these two inventories, Wraith King in a lot lower of a state than Jug is. No surprise there, of course.
That's what happens when you have 5 kills in lane.
Yep. You're gonna be beating him up a little more. Death Prophet just misclicked the creep.
No, I was gonna say.
X3 turning this around!
He certainly is.
Wizard is just getting the hell beat out of him. And down he goes. Now Esper all alone here, but no follow-up.
They got me at least, and they're also
London
London
actually, yep. Gank down bot, gets a double for Razor there.
Okay.
Wins the
RP
Megas.
to get 2 kills. Good use of the first RP of the game.
Sort of unfortunate. I feel like an Ember TP down there bot would have probably had a good effect there. But
I think that was a really good play by GG's to kind of put out that fire that was starting bot.
Yeah, if they had not made that rotation, I don't know if there was much of a path for victory for them, which is a very early thing to say, but man.
Continue to put out the fire here.
There's a great cogs bottom.
And then he gets tipped. Razor very bravely, actually. Trying to start a dive here on the Jug, but...
they're definitely starting to
dive. They got it. Oh, what a cogs.
Yeah, that's very good cogs there.
Oh.
You cannot count out Clockwork even when he's down. That's a big thing with this guy. You could use the phrase one-trick pony to describe Tunnelson if you were a very mean person. I'm a very mean person. Tunnelson is a one-trick pony, but he is really good at that trick. Even if Clockwork is 0 in a million, you cannot write him out. He's just one with the hero, you know what I mean? Just at the end of his hands, it is Clockwork.
Alright, game that was once 6-2 is now 7-6.
Yeah, that was a very good sequence for them.
Clockwork might be
Night Stalker.
Okay, good kick by the Earth Spirit. Just completely nullifies that.
Clockwork just picked up hook mid.
Yeah, he did.
Oh!
Really?
Swing and a miss is very close there.
They have some.
And here comes Dogtown.
They might punish him for that.
Here comes the whole club, actually. Just gonna drop everything on poor Clock here. Just got wiped off the face of the universe. The GGs might have bitten off a little more than they could chew here. They just called Dogtown a mid. If there's one thing in this league you never want to be seeing, that's like
He canceled it.
He almost let the hammer drop there.
There is one thing at mid you never ever want to be seeing. It is Kid Dynamite sitting there with Dogtown. X3, they do a good job of going down and trying to punish X3 while his buddy's out though. He's getting sucked.
I think if London lets the RP go there, Razor's getting omnied.
His death is approaching. Oh, good cogs! Very good cogs, but no avail. Here comes Dogtown again. Magnus just doesn't want to RP. Just doesn't want to RP when Dogtown's around. Does not want to RP in the face of the Air Spirit, but the Air Spirit's down now. Good use of the hook there, just securing the kill.
Yep.
Man, this is
good outcome for GG's, I think. I mean,
and speaking of good outcome, check out what's happening in the jungle here right now.
Yeah.
Esper getting these stacks. Esper, always a dangerous pause one player, even here on a different team than usual. Vex says rough. I don't know what's rough, but yeah, this is a rough couple of minutes for Lich. Lich definitely the underdog.
Both teams, really.
Right. Lich definitely the underdogs in this situation. You know, facing, you know, definitely, probably the most improved team overall in the league. If it's not them, it's a very close second at the very least. And Clockwork now just about to get completely casketed. Good coconut! Good coconut from Meat! Wizard going down in the top lane as well. Goodbye, DP.
They keep getting these really important picks on supports. It's very good. Lich just not letting them breathe, basically.
Right. London down bot with Invis. The push in very Magnus with Invis, Juggernaut in a very precarious situation, though I think the Spidey senses start tangling here as he is just making a run out. RP goes down, but all they get for it is Witch Doctor. That can't be what he wanted.
He was probably hoping for the drug too, and that
hook shot top.
Yeah, hook shot on the Night Stalker there. Fleet Sisters are going. Ember Spirit is here.
Yep.
But it's hard to see him doing much. And Esper gets the kill. Wraith King getting that kill is never ideal. Also finished that armlet in some of that downtime. It's a good turnaround for the GGs to end the lane phase here.
I just want to note, Esper was 5th in net worth a couple minutes ago, like 2 minutes ago max, and now she's fighting for 3rd. Just after that alone.
Gonna be eating the Clockwork here.
Yep.
Lich taking the probably good idea, the good strategy to try and call an end to the lane phase affairs early. Which isn't a bad plan when you've got a very solid team fight lineup going against a team fight that consists of one ult, which isn't up right now, basically.
Right.
I guess 2 ults, you know, being a little unkind to the Death Prophet there saying that, but that'll also down.
It is, and Radiant have a much more easily deployable fight because they don't have that long cooldowns. Their longest cooldown's probably like Omni.
It might be Dark Ascension, SV.
Yeah, probably.
It is one thing. They're going to be a little hampered during the daytimes, but all the fun comes out at night. It's hard to see GGs doing pulling off a great performance in fights once the moon comes up.
Wizard getting these stacks stacked up.
Yep.
For lack of a better term, I suppose.
You do actually have some stacks in Lich Camp as well. You can see Ember Spirit actually putting watch on one, just making sure that nobody jumps on it.
Clock scouted that out.
It's an interesting little situation there because Clock did scout it up, but Ember Spirit also watching the stacks, so they can't just contest it. If they try to, they're gonna have Ember in their face. That's not who you want to have, especially if you're like Wraith King solo or something. Gonna make a siege here on the top tower. Lost the bot T1 Radiant already, as tradition.
Oh yeah.
You're welcome.
I like where this game is right now as far as you know, the Wraith King's farm and the space that's getting created with bot.
Right. The Wraith King had a very rough early lane phase, but right now the GG's doing a lot. They doing everything they can to give the boys some space, and no surprise there because like if you don't give Wraith King the space, what are you going to do in this match? You know, no big brain science there, but
oh no, they got London.
They got him good too. Clockwork coming in, very good hook, but Kid Dynamite just absolutely will not let him get away. Great chasing effort here. Dogtown rolling in just to make this a big confusing mess for the GGs. They don't know where to look, they don't know where to turn. The Twin Spirits are just hammering them.
Oh my lord.
And down goes DB to end the fight. Wraith
That
King
was
looking
crazy.
on from the sidelines can do nothing more than that. Great team fight from
They didn't get
Lich.
Esper, so it's not as good as it could have been, but that is emphatic from Lich.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
So,
I think they
Of course,
probably
Lich.
wish they got Esper, but
right.
Has fallen.
At the very least, they got
we'll-
some objectives
we'll
done
walk
for that.
towards Esper.
Uh-oh. Esper got a
Dire's
blink?
middle
No?
tower is under
Uh-oh.
attack.
They are.
but- Yeah.
They are.
Oh,
They're
boy.
doing everything they
Oh
can.
my.
Everybody is here at Smash Ultimate. All 5 members of Lich right
Magnus.
here. But Magnus,
Oh,
Magnus,
skewer!
RPs the spirits under the T3. Wraith King is back up and he is pissed. Immediately brings the hammer down on X3. Poor guy just trying to get away from the
Mana,
fight.
mana, mana.
All the support's so low. Witch Doctor just running away gets killed by the tower.
God. Okay.
Kid Dynamite, the sole survivor, beating feet away from that fight ASAP. Great RP from Magnus. I don't think Lich was even thinking it was up at that moment. Woo! That
There
ain't
you
good if
go.
you're in the if you're in
Now the
Camp Lich.
turntables.
This game for about 1 minute looked phenomenal for Lich.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looked really good, and then it was like
I think they bit off a
even-
little more than they could chew there.
London sent them crashing right back down to earth.
That's usually something that you see with Panic at the Roche Pit, where you have the sort of one who you put all your resources into stopping that one, and then the 2 shows up and scrambles you. You know, 4 protect 1 sort of strategy. It certainly worked out for them there. That was a great RP in charge. Certainly
that
one.
RP definitely split the fight up for the team.
Certainly somebody to watch in the future on that Magnus. We have not really seen London, I don't think, put on a great showing as Magnus so far in this tournament. But man, that RP alone, man, you can't. That RP alone just changed history. You can no longer ignore that. You know what I mean? That was crazy. And the thing is, that wasn't like the sort of fluke RP that you're going to see sometimes in that. You know, there was a definitive purpose in that RP. There was a
Yeah.
definitive
He got what he was
like
going for.
execution. He knew exactly what he was going for,
Sure.
and he got it. That's not something that happens.
Oh,
Jug
there
is in
was-
trouble.
He's in the cogs. Spinning
Yep.
to winning. No TP.
Oh, no
He's actually
TPs,
still-
30-second.
Oh no.
Goodbye, Jug. Gets eaten by the Death Prophet ult.
Yeah.
That is one unfortunate thing about the Death Prophet here, is that her ult is just going to sometimes naturally be snaking out some of the kills that your core would probably rather have. In all honesty.
Alright, going straight for the Roche.
Yep. Right into the pit, beating the hell out of the guy.
Radiant's middle tower.
Lich are kind of near this, but Clock is standing in a really good spot to dissuade them. Basically playing distraction duty. Oh, London.
Katie.
He's
What a-
more interested
Oh
in
no! Oh, Mamma
destroying
Mia!
KD.
Oh, that's bad, baby. Night Stalker, though, is not going to let this go unanswered. They actually do all pull out to try and stop him.
Dire's turret.
They're kind of splitting up, it seems like, between chasing him and not, but the rest of Lich is just not confident enough to fight without Kid
They
Dynamite.
just dropped the RP right on Kid Dynamite's head there.
And down goes Roche. Ouch.
Into the dive.
I think that, you know, another difference between kind of a good Magnus player and not so good of a Magnus player is whether you're willing to drop RP on one target.
Right. If there is one man you need to worry about, that's who you RP. It's as simple as. If there is one guy you need to worry about, if it is protect one situation, absolutely by no.
You see that guy a little out of position as London saw there, and you just bring
Right.
him in, drop
is-
the hammer on his head.
This is going to be a very big compliment. I do think this is a very collapse-style Magnus so far. As stated earlier, you know, this is definitely in London's skill department here. And might I add, by the way, London right now is sick with COVID.
Yeah, that's true.
he is probably off his tall
Now we're
balls
giving
right
off
now.
those.
He is off his tall balls right now, and he's still playing this out. What do you think, Tallballz?
I mean, I've had it, so I know what it feels like, and I'm gonna say the ability for him to stare at his monitor is impressive, because my head could not take it.
I like Wizard snatching the last centaur there. Wizard also doing a good job trying to extend the line of credit for his team there. You know, since right now you really can't have Razor be doing this aggressive sort of farm, Wizard can go out. You know, DP can go out, sneak some camps on the enemy side, just take some money, get it on their own profit, and that is good because I do think on our own profit, in our own pocket. I do think that's good. I do think DP is a pretty money-intensive 5.
Yep.
Definitely not a hero you're going to get away with like just a Eulf. You're going to need a little more than that. But so, as our esteemed, yep. As our
Smoke plus RP, so Katie
Yeah.
might be in a
This'll
little
be
danger here.
smoke plus
DP
RP
ult
plus
up too.
DP ult.
Oh no.
Got the Ember Spirit
Oh,
out.
they got him.
And again the RP right on top of his head, and down he goes. Run over meat. Ugh! Coming in to try and get the save, but no avail. London has a haste. He's out of town.
Yep.
But the former offlane is not going to let this get away from him. Witch Doctor is back, but they just don't have the pressure to keep it up. Not with Magnus hasted like that. Again, the haste runes just punishing poor Lich. Gaben hates Lich, but even now, Night Stalker's still trying to get him down, but he just can't do it. They just won't let him close. He's about to pop.
Man.
Nobody's
They're
about to
protecting
pop,
their
actually.
MVPs so well.
Omni slash in.
Flash.
Wizard tanks the gank, as they say. Wraith King blinks in right after him. Great blink by Esper. The bush very low right now. But they just can't catch up to the bush either. What a crazy team fight.
Yeah,
That
that was insanity.
That could have gone very disastrously for... Oh, get Dynamite's not done, baby. But he just barely misses him. Ah, that has got to be a
He
disappointment.
smelt blood.
I don't
London
know.
knows what he wants, man. You know, you RP one person and still pretty heavily win the fight.
Right.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Definitely a big old check mark on your gameplay if you're doing that. Esper, by the way, doing a little bit better than I thought about sort of convalescing with the team here. You know, Esper traditionally, like I said, is not used to playing on a team structured like the GGs, at least not this season. And this sort of performance by the Wraith King definitely is a very good performance as a stand-in. Very good performance. Actually still rocking the LDR tag, rip LDR.
Yep, said.
Only enough, I believe Lich actually were the ones who specifically knocked LDR out of contention here, like knocked them out of the path to getting on the board, more or less.
Wasn't Sparta? I think
Sparta
did.
formally did it, but like once they lost to get to
I got
Lich.
clocked down here. Probably just
clock.
gonna
But he hooks out.
hook.
You see, Randy, that's what happens when Clockwork needs
So
to
that happens when
stave, and you
so that
stand
happens
more
when
than
I drop
5.
the clock.
This way. So what happens when Clock needs to stave, and
Slow
you
down a
stand
little bit
less than 6 inches away from him, and don't body block him when he hooks you?
Gabe
Randy.
says 77% chance for Dire.
Hard to argue with him. Hard to argue with him. Mr. Balls, you see a way Lich can win this? If you're Lich right now, what are you thinking?
You know, I want to have faith. I think what they need to really do is not focus the Wraith King. I think we saw, for example, that chase where it seemed like everything was going to be really good, and then GG's just turned it around with a really good. I think they're really good about playing around Wraith King.
Right.
So I think the thing is, like you were alluding to with the Magnus. I think Magnus is somebody who is the one that's really going to change the game. I think get rid of Death Prophet, go for the backlines. I think right now we're really seeing that main focus on trying to stop Wraith King.
The tragedy is that's what they tried in that last team fight, but the haste rune really complicated
Oh,
that,
it was
unfortunately for him. Randy, you're a doctor, right?
Yeah.
As the doctor of Dota, what's your own prescription? What do you think? Do you agree with Mr. Balls here?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like I said in the draft phase, in that Magnus punishes mistakes really badly, and that dive on Wraith King was they bit off a little more than they could chew, and they got punished really hard for it.
Omni dropped on Pasky. Very casually knocking him out.
London. Ooh,
Probably not the
okay.
most ideal guy to be getting. The Razor, so far in this game, not had
They're
a
looking at
great
Night
impact, I
Stalker,
don't think.
looking real nasty at him, but
Yeah.
he'll walk away.
I don't think... They'd be very hard-pressed to get him down with just the forces they have down here.
Yep.
Especially with his buddies coming in.
Yeah.
Just calling in reinforcements. He tried to sneak him in, but I think somebody got captured TPing or something, because immediately GG started rolling back out there.
Oh no.
He's in the cogs with the Death Prophet.
Clock out of his own cogs.
Very good there. Knocking out the support. Dinga doesn't get much done, but certainly enough to scare them. Clockwork tries to hook out again, but no such luck this time.
Yeah.
Now Lich have a little while to breathe.
Small wins for Lich.
Earth
They didn't
Spirit
get any of the MVPs, but
didn't get any of the MVPs. They did get one interesting thing: Enchant Remnant on the Enchant Remnant Nags on the Earth Spirit here. Can now turn somebody into a statue.
yeah.
I will say in the last 4 minutes or so, Juggernaut seems to be closing in on that net worth window.
Yeah, he's doing a lot of farming. If you look at that inventory, that is nothing to sneeze at, brother. Come for a Basher next. Basher's gonna help him some of these guys down.
Perilously close to each other down here.
Yeah. 2 ships gonna pass in the night? They wanna fight this out? Nope. Juggernaut wants no part of that. That's not a great sign when you're the early game team, 27 minutes, your pause one's running away from a 1v1 with their pause one.
I think at the very least, Jug and Wraith King kind of skill, not equally, but it's...
I definitely favor Wraith King myself, especially in the context.
To Wraith King.
I definitely especially say, I would say 60-40 in Wraith King's favor, and especially in this specific context. And double especially if he finds a Paladin Sword. Yep, Smoke Gang finds Pasky in the jungle. His boys are with him here. We are doing a little team jungle exercise. Delaying game with the old Scepter there, but really doesn't get much done. BKB though.
What?
Oh no! 2-man RP on the former offlane, Night Stalker and the Earth Spirit, both going to go down in no time at all. They do a good job avoiding the Ember Spirit as they do so. Ember Spirit just trying to get something out of this fight. Does get the clock, but cannot quite get himself out of there in time. The Bush, the one living man. Gonna get the Razor though. Maybe? Maybe? Oh, the Yules again! Omni Slash comes out though, and one Yule rock! But unfortunately,
again, Wraith King didn't die.
Just to take all the air out of the room, Wraith King.
Reincarnated.
Wraith King starting to look really inevitable right now. Even with a pretty close net worth range there. What are you thinking, boys? Lich, can Lich still do this?
I always want to have faith, like I was saying, but I think this game went right the way GG's wanted. I think they created a lot of space early for Wraith King to kind of catch up even after having a really tough start. So I think right now they're sitting in the driver's seat with the ball in their court, and it's just a matter of, like you were saying at the beginning, just poor execution.
It's theirs to lose right now, I feel like.
Yep.
What about you, Randy? What's the prognosis? Is it grim?
It's about 80-20 in my eyes.
How many minutes does Lich have to live? That's really the important question.
10 or 15? I mean, even after that point, I think they can, if they manage to kill Wraith King, which is a big if, but it is possible.
By the way, shoutouts to Seaweaves. Seaweaves, who's somebody in LD2, and I always forget who they are because it's like super not their name.
Wow.
I think that might be.
If they manage to kill Wraith King, then they have, you know, the Jug can create a lot of space in the rest of the fight. You see, he killed everyone except for the Wraith King in that fight, basically.
Yeah.
Solo.
Oh, and Tunic coming out. That's a great find for the Lich here.
So basically what I'm saying is, when Jug is not having to fight Wraith King, he does really well.
Right. If they can pick fights without the Wraith King or play around him otherwise, and they do actually have a pretty good lineup for doing that. I think Ember Spirit is one of the best heroes in the game at like isolating somebody from a fight.
On a smoker.
Yeah, they do have a smoke. Question is are the GGs going to let him do that, or are they going to play well around it? So far, they seem to be playing really well around it.
Scan out.
Yep, scan out. Finding they did just go
work
through.
Actually, that's super good against Ember.
Yeah, especially, but Ember does have the BKB here though, so. Yep. Ember actually, unfortunately for him, he had to rush the hell out of the BKB here. Got it first time.
Right behind them.
Oh no, they found a bush! We have a few jumps in to try and get him out, but no avail. Witch Doctor ult though, but nothing comes of it. Wraith King immediately shuts him up with a 2-hit kill! Oh man, this is looking grim. They gotta get the reincarnate out at least. So it's not, you can't say nothing came out of that for him, but it's hard to say much. Hard to say much.
Man, London's really good, huh?
London is showing everybody what he can do on this hero. Like I said, it's not really part of the traditional London pool, but man, he can definitely play this. And like I said, he's in a tough situation too. This is very much one of those famous in spite of games as well.
So are they taking the Aegis on the Wraith King? Or maybe Mag?
Hard to say. I can definitely tell you what I would
do. It would be very
do.
daunting to kill Wraith King 3 times.
Yep.
So,
on the other hand,
on
it'd also be pretty daunting to kill Magnus twice. Now let me even kind of.
He's got a slide. Yep.
Wraith King gonna be doing it twice. Also
We
pulled
need
up
the
a shard.
Giving the shard to Clock, alright.
Not taking it for himself. Interesting. He's not not thinking the reincarnation's gonna be coming up too much. I guess not too much of a surprise there. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. They're gonna glyph for it. Woo, X3.
Oh, okay.
Just dodging a little bit of the fun there. They just can't get the guy. Can't get the guy. He's gonna go right back in. X3, no fear. No fear here. He is not taking this. So good armlet toggling work on the Wraith King here. Getting so much lifesteal from that Paladin sword. Omni here.
Yeah, Omni, right.
Omni gets the first Wraith King. That is good, but he just can't get Jug at all. Or Jug can't get him at all. Goodbye to the Death's Prophet, to the Night Stalker. Magnus swinging a miss on that charge, doesn't really matter. Run over meat's still dead.
Oh yeah. Alright.
I just think it's even a tall task for them to kill the Wraith King without the Aegis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I think not enough damage. It's the armlet toggling too is quite impressive.
Yeah, very good armlet toggle work there. And yep, that was a perfect cogs. Actually, not getting Jug in the cogs there was perfect.
Yep.
Like the strategic, you know, that's definitely the sign of a good clockwork versus a bad clockwork. A good clockwork is always going to try and get units cogs. A bad clockwork is going to do that. A good clockwork knows the discretion between. Sometimes you just want to make a big mess, just get somebody to get around.
RPO
These are immediately get cut out there. Jug very low. That's a dieback for the Ember Spirit. Again, swinging a miss on that charge from the Magnus, though. So there's that. Jug is going to walk away with his life for that. And get the second death for Wraith King! But that's actually another reincarnate. He just hasn't died in too long.
Yeah, he still has
Oh
Aegis.
my goodness.
But this is going to be for sure a death on Wraith King.
Yep.
This might be a full-fledged death on Wraith King, actually.
Yep.
Oh, but the perfect time blink. Actually, a little surprised that worked. It seemed like they had some anti-blink stuff set up there. It just didn't quite knock out the dagger in time, unfortunately for them.
GG's pull out.
Yep. Well, without actually being able to kill Wraith King, it's still hard to call that a success for the for Lich. They're definitely at the point now where it's like Wraith King must die or you will die.
Yep.
Oh, Weaver's lad of lads. What's up, lad? Probably not a great.
Lads.
Probably not a great sign for how your games went. I guess you guys did start early though, so there's that. Yep, we are in round 1 here. With Tallballz, by the way.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it's said terribly much since you come on, because we've been windbags here. Give us some wise words as a captain here. If you're in GG's shoes, how do you finish the job here?
I just tell them to stay focused. Obviously, they have the potential. The other team with Juggernaut being as farmed as he is. Just stay focused. Obviously, close it out. We have the mid racks down. Maybe just start working towards other objectives. Try to demoralize them a little bit and get that GG call.
Right. SVSV. X3 will never die. He's gonna get stunned out here.
Might die.
Good Omni
He's
flash.
BKB'd. Good Omni, but it gets all eaten by a Yule Scepter there. These Yules, man. These Yules proving so difficult to deal with the last couple of weeks.
Good roll in by our
Clockwork.
Spirit.
The Clockwork just hooks right back out, and now this is horrific. That's 2 RPs, chugging both of them, and he's down. I think that's his dieback. Let's check.
Oh my god.
No, he's just down money, and he's down a lot of money. Got a demoralized mate here. Poor mate, dude. Come on, boy doesn't deserve that. I think it's legitimate. I think they know that that Run or Meat has had a history of some morale problems. They're just trying to exacerbate it. Sieging up the T3 top here. Very unlikely to see any serious resistance.
Yeah.
Ember Spirit is going to throw out there, but
They don't have an answer for
man.
Magnus at all.
right.
It looked
Just
like
funny.
they might have in the draft, but they don't in practice.
Yep, it's a matter of the execution. Matter of the execution. GG's did a great job. In particular, their best answer was Night Stalker, but they've just been doing such a great job making sure Night Stalker isn't able to get within a zip code of the GG's basically without some resistance. You know, the 3 and under club always being in his face when he tries to go for them. While on the other hand, you know, the positioning, it just feels like they end up getting in, trying to chase the Wraith King, trying to get him down. It just ends up going for him there. It just ends up working out really well for the GG's. So it is a matter, you know, as I said, of execution. Lich has a very good set of options to deal with as far as the Magnus goes, but unfortunately for them, partially due to their own play, because you can't just be Mr. Nice Guy in the Learn Dota 2 League. We got to learn here, folks. Partially because of their own play. I do feel like there are some misplays here, like the attempt to go for the Radiance on Night Stalker here. I just do not agree with at all.
Radiance, he's getting Hellfire.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah, I just saw the Sacred Relic and assumed. Never mind. Sorry, X3. But there are some play issues here, but GG's as well have been doing a lot of good things to try and deny all the possible options for Lich to get anything done here. And at this point, it's really hard to see them doing much. They're going to make at least one valiant last charge out here.
Yep.
Gonna run into the clock here. Not probably the most ideal guy. They are gonna just tear him to shreds with the Aeon Disc. Chug just dodged the RP with this Omni though. X3 first to fall. Clockwork follows shortly. Ember Spirit super low, just trying to get out of there, but he gets caught too! No, baby, no! Oh!
That was beyond sick.
This game.
This is heartbreaking, man. Kid Dynamite calls the G's, and that's it.
What an RP.
Ouch.
The second one was so sick.
I think this game showed us kind of to not always look at the scoreboard, because if you do look at the scoreboard and you see Magnus's play, you would think it's just a mediocre game from him, you know, just a run of the mill. But what you don't see on that scoreboard is him making those plays, making that play at bottom to save Wraith King on that one chase. I think he's the subtle MVP for this game for me.
Yeah, sure.
BRB stamp for those on YouTube. Very dominating performance there for GG's. My hope is that Lich keeps their heads in the game. It definitely did seem like a game they had a path to win in, but it collapsed for them. But the fact that they built a path against the GG's is a very, very big thing. A lot of teams never got that far, Tallballz. See what happens next time. By the way, DeVirus, you better goddamn get in here. You're in my chat. Can't be doing that.